If you follow just a few simple guidelines, your Google Slides will be accessible for everyone, including those using screen readers. We'll address 4 areas of Google Slides accessibility. These first 3 are pretty basic, so we're always going to include alt text on any images. We're always going to include closed captioning on any videos, and we want to make sure our font color and background color have high contrast. And then at the end, we'll talk about reading order, which is a little more complicated, but very important for navigation. First, let's talk about alt text. So to provide alt text in Google Slides, you just click on the image, click on Format Options, then go to the right, and the very bottom option is your alt text option. And then you're just going to add in a description. You want to make it short, but still convey the meaning of the image. Now, the other great thing is that if you need to use this image in other slides, you can copy and paste it, and it will maintain your alt text. So be sure you add the alt text before you copy and paste it, and you'll save yourself some time. Next, let's talk about closed captioning for a minute. We want to be sure that all videos have accurate and available closed captioning, and that means not relying solely on auto-generated captions. So if you are using YouTube, for example, and relying on their captions, always review and edit those captions to make sure that they're accurate. Okay, next we'll talk about high contrast. So you always want to make sure that your font color and background color are very distinct from each other. Now you can double check your color combinations if you're not using strictly black on white or white on black. I would suggest that you use the WebAIM Contrast Checker. But in order to use that tool, you're going to need to know the hex number of your colors. To find the hex number for your font, go ahead and select some font, and then you're going to go up to the text color icon on the top. And now if you hover over these, you will get a hex number right there. Now the easiest way to grab that hex number, unfortunately, is to just write it down. Now if you have a fill, it's going to work very much the same. So for example, in this text box, if I fill this text box with a color, we'll make that text box bright blue here. You can see that is not going to work very well, but if I go up here and hover, I'm going to write that hex number down. And now we can go to our WebAIM Contrast Checker. And foreground, we're going to put our text color in there, which was 737-373. And our background color, that dark blue color, which we know is not going to be a good contrast. Then you're going to hit enter when you're done entering that background text color. And you can see it gives me my contrast ratio right here. And we get a great big fail here. Now it's a little more complicated if you are checking the background color, but you can still do it. So if I'm on this slide and I want to check the background color, it's not a fill, but a background, like in this slide. Here you can go to your colors here. And now again, you can hover, and that's where you can find your hex number. Now, the other important thing is not to use any gradient colors, because that's going to make your color contrast very inconsistent. And so some of the page will be readable, but some won't because the contrast is changing. Next up, we're going to talk about reading order. And this gets a little more complicated, but it doesn't have to be. So the first tip is always use the pre-made layouts And always include a slide title on every slide. And the reason you're going to do this is because when a screen reader reads, the order in which it reads is dependent on the layout. So let me just add a new slide here and show you what I mean by those pre-made layouts. So here I am in slide 11. Now, if I don't want just a simple title and text here, I can change that layout by going up to the layout menu and choosing something different. So I could choose to have a title and 2 columns. That is still going to be accessible. So any of these are pretty safe to use as long as you always have that slide title. Let me demonstrate what I mean by reading order. So if you want to check the reading order of some Google Slides that you have maybe already created, just go ahead and click on the slide over there in the film strip. So I'm here on slide 11. I just want to be sure I haven't clicked inside of this slide anywhere. And then just use the tab key and tab around. So there you can see that first the screen reader is going to read the title, which is exactly what we want. And then it will read this column and then this column. Now, if we go to a different slideshow, let's say we just pick this project timeline presentation template. And let's pick slide 3. Now, if I start hitting tab, you'll see that immediately the first thing the screen reader is going to read is the image over on the right-hand side there, right in the middle of the page. It's not going to make any sense whatsoever. None of this makes any sense. So the very last thing on this page that's read is the title. Obviously, that's not what we want. So screen readers read in layer order, but they read back to front. So if we wanted to fix this reading order, I would select the item I want read first, in this case, the title, and then I'm going to right-click, going to go down to order, and I'm going to say send to back. So then it will be at the very back and the screen reader will read that item first. It's exactly opposite of what you think it would be. Now the next thing I might do is maybe I want the company name read last. So now I can right-click on the company name, which is teeny tiny down there at the bottom, really kind of not that important. But then I go to my order menu and I can say bring to front. And that means it will be the very last thing that's read because it's the very first layer of this slide. Let's test our reading order by clicking out of the slide and onto the slide over in the film strip. So nothing is selected over here. And now I'm going to hit my tab key and I can see that the first item read will be the title, which is what we wanted. And then it skips down here. And so I can continue to change the reading order of this slide until it's the way I want. So you can see how the more elements you have on the slide, the more tedious this process is going to be. And in some cases, it might be better to start with one of those pre-made layouts and enter in the information that you want in the correct order that way. Just remember, when it comes to reading order, it's the opposite of what you would think. The item layered in the back is the first thing read, and the item layered in the front is the last thing read. Best of luck with your Google Slide presentations.